Here's what Scrum is not. The attempt to use traditional Gantt ideas for developing software was first described by Dr. Winston Royce in 1970. He drew a picture, a bit like this one, showing a series of phases.
One phase connects to the next phase, connects to the next phase, and each one has a handoff. In theory, you would do all your analysis in the beginning, get that completely done, then you would start on your design, get that completely done, then start on your code, get that all the way done, and then integrate, etc. That was a nice theory about how things could work, and we suppose it could work if we had perfect knowledge in the beginning and never made mistakes along the way.
The next sentence in Dr. Winston Royce's paper, unfortunately no one read this far, said, "I believe in this concept, but the implementation described above is risky and invites failure."
The reason it fails for complex work, we rarely have perfect knowledge at the beginning. In fact, we know less about our project when we're starting out than we're ever going to know in the future. Today is the dumbest day of the rest of our project. But a plan-driven approach requires us to make our most important decisions right at the beginning when we know the least. Waterfall projects eventually descend into anarchy when the actual work finally happens with low quality and too much overtime. Scrum throws all those phases in the blender. All the ingredients are mixed into every sprint. Instead of dividing the work into activity-specific phases, we divide it into fixed-length iterations called sprints. Every sprint contains some combination of analysis, design, actual implementation, testing, planning for the future. Maybe we'll actually be shipping or deploying more frequently. Right from the first sprint, a Scrum team tries to build a working, tested, potentially shippable product increment, even if it starts out small. Every sprint they demonstrate what little bit of shippable product they have to everyone. Customers often need to see the wrong product before they can specify what they really need. With short iterations and more feedback, we have a better chance of discovering the right product. While the product owner doesn't actually have to ship every sprint, it's the team's job to make it possible. Sprints are officially 30 days long, and most Scrum teams are doing them in less, such as 2 weeks. To make a shippable product every 2 weeks, we're going to want people with skills in testing, in design, in business requirements, in coding, all on one cross-functional, self-organizing team. Now, instead of waiting for the end to start our testing, we'll start testing with our very first sprint. Instead of doing all the design up front, we'll do a bit of design every sprint until it becomes continuous design. We'll do small amounts of continuous redesign and refactoring to avoid technical debt. Every sprint combines all aspects of the work. A Scrum team should collaborate together instead of working in phases with handoffs.